everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's wonderful to have you here again. I hope you haven't missed me too much. I've been away for a couple of weeks, which doesn't seem like any time at all now. I hope you've had a really lovely Easter, whatever you've been up to. You've been maybe able to get outside into some sunshine. We've had rain and sun, which has been really good because I have to say the ground was getting very dry. And in fact, they were talking about some wildfires here in Cumbria, which is a very odd thing for us to have. So I'm very glad. It seems funny to say I'm glad it's rained, but I am very grateful because the trees and all the little plants and the animals, they need their water, don't they? So our garden will be all the better for it in our land. So as I say, I hope you've had a peaceful couple of weeks. I don't really know what I've been doing. Oh, except we had some men in the house. We were having some new doors fitted, which has been very interesting. We've had our old doors as long as we've had the house, and they kind of came free from an old house that was being demolished. And we got some stone and we got these doors, and they were very, very wonky doors. They were very battered. They were Victorian, probably like an old pine type thing, plank doors, old-fashioned country doors, and they've done us really well. They've served us beautifully, but they got some woodworm, dare I say it, and actually they were very wonky. They didn't really fit the holes of the door surrounds any longer, so we've treated ourselves and got new doors. And it's very interesting, isn't it, having somebody else in your house that isn't part of your family or your friends. They were the loveliest chaps who came and fitted the doors. They were really fantastic. And they hoovered up after themselves and everything. They did the whole shebang. And now we have these beautiful new doors, which I have to say, took us a few days to get the hang of them and get our eyes looking at them and going, oh yes, do we like them? Do we like them? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But there was a couple of them which had glass in that didn't used to have glass in the bathrooms, and that's been a bit of an odd one. It just shows you what your eye gets used to seeing and what you feel very comfortable with. These old things that make you feel safe and comfortable because they're known. And so that's been an interesting thing to work around. It's been beautiful and wonderful, and we so appreciate the new doors, I have to say. I do apologise, by the way, if the light keeps coming and going. I'm sitting in my lounge. I'm trying to find a place in the house to sit where I don't get too much light, but I get enough light. So it is a very, very sunny day today, so I apologise if the light keeps coming and going. There's nothing much I can do about it except enjoy the sunshine. So yeah, about the new and the old, it's very interesting. My life is changed up so much since March the 10th, when I started setting up my new YouTube channel and my Substack and things. I feel like I don't know, I don't quite know who I am or what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm kind of feeling my way, and I feel like I'm sort of, what's the word, planting some seeds into a new way of living. I've always been a bit of a maverick, I think. I've always been a bit on the fringes of sort of what I would call conventional society. I've had a very mixed up career path, if you like. I've done a lot of different things, and now I feel like I've really found something creative that I can be doing, which is my YouTube channel and creating whatever it is I'm going to do in my studio to show people on my Substack, and sending out a little monthly posting full of, I hope, some inspiration and some joy, because I feel as though that's what my new path is about. So trying to explain to you today about my life and creative living was what I was going to do, and I thought, well, one of the things that's been really significant for me recently has been reconnecting with old friends. So since COVID, for about the last 5 years, I have been a bit of a hermit. I've been kind of hibernating, if you like. I've been tucked away here. I've been doing my YouTube channel, which has been great, and I've been doing little shopping expeditions, but I have really not been out in society. And COVID didn't actually make much difference to my life, because I was already fairly quiet in my life, in my living, if you like, because my body was going through a big process of clearing, and I didn't have a lot of energy. So in fact, when the lockdowns and stuff happened, my life really didn't change. But now I feel, especially with this spring that we've just got here now, I'm enjoying the blossoms. Aren't you just loving that it's springtime? I feel as though it's time very much for a fresh start. So I'm reconnecting with parts of myself that I thought I'd kind of disappeared, but in a new, more sustainable way is what I'm thinking. So I'm going out and about with my camera more, so you will see I'm going to show you film clips of bits of my life, things that I think might be of interest to you. So for example, springtime. Springtime's here, and I just had to show you the blossom, because the blossom in our little funny old tree that's tucked down where the geese live, it's a funny old tree. It used to be a bush, and we kept it in a pot for many, many years, and then eventually we planted it out. And every year it's this beautiful blossom tree. It's had a bit of damage because the donkeys got out one day when they shouldn't have got out, and they actually ate some of the tree. They do this, they eat the bark of trees, and the tree will then die. So luckily this tree hasn't died, and it's giving us this beautiful blossom every year. And the other big sign of spring is our geese, who lay eggs. First of all, they start eating a lot of grit, which is really interesting to watch, because they know they need lots of grit in their diet to make their eggs. And when you see the size of their eggs, you will see why. If I just show you here the size of their eggs, they're absolutely enormous. But we love it because they lay eggs, and we give them to people, and people, they go, wow, this is an incredible egg. And they're very tasty and enjoyable, and you can make cakes with them. And they just do it, they're just beautiful. But they get very fierce and very sort of determined when they're laying eggs, so I have to be, make sure that strangers don't show up and frighten them, because they don't like it, they get very honky. So this is springtime, as I say, and I hope it's springtime where you are, and if it's not, you're going into autumn and winter. Well, that's another season, isn't it? It's a season to cherish, and I feel that reconnecting with these seasons is so important, and doing things in a seasonal way, which we do here because of how we live. Because we've got some land, you can't not live seasonally. It's just like it's forced upon you. So in the middle of winter, when it's really wet and horrible and muddy, we've still got to go out and look after the animals. We've still got to, make sure they're okay. And so you have to go out, and that makes you connect with nature in a way. And I think you appreciate then coming back inside all the more, don't you, when you've been out in the cold and wet? But what I'm valuing at the moment is this reconnection with nature that's so deep at this time of year, because it's so full of zest and vigour, and it's kind of, I feel as it's reinvigorated me to reconnect with my friends. So I've got various friends. I'm very grateful because they're very old dear friends, most of them. I'm always up for making new ones. But these friends, and I've been out for lunch with one, I've had coffee with another in her house, and that was lovely because I haven't seen her or her house for years probably. And I went and did, what did I do with the other one? Oh, I know, it was my arty friend. Steph's my arty friend, and so she came here, I invited her to come here. And we sat in my new little studio space, and we did some making together, which was just wonderful. We just sat with bits of paper, and we did some cutting and sticking, like we were 5-year-olds. And we caught up, in a way that we do meet up at our textile group. There's a little textile group that I think I might have mentioned once a month. I go to that. And we do go there, but obviously we can't have the same level of conversation somehow that we have if we're just on our own. It's a different chat, if you like. And I've been out with another friend who we do sort of healing stuff together. So it's like been a range of friends, and I've done different things with them, but I've reconnected with them, and that's been fantastic. And it's kind of relit a fire in me to live my life sort of even more creatively than I have so far. It's like I kind of want to live more intentionally, and to really think about what I'm doing with my time, with my energy, with my resources, with what life has given to me. I mean, I am so abundant, I'm so blessed. I live in one of the most beautiful places you could live, and I truly want to make the most of that. So for example, my husband and I actually went out for a walk this week. I said, let's go to one of the local lakes. It was late afternoon. We chose to go late afternoon because it's been the Easter holidays, and we were trying to make sure that it wasn't too busy. And it wasn't. There was just us there, and a group of boys out with their dogs, walking their dogs. And as we came back to the car, there was a guy going fishing, and there was 2 chaps going running. And that's what they do around here. We love our outdoors around here. We really do. People just love being out there. So these guys were going off to do what gave them pleasure, and we'd done what gave us pleasure, which was just going for a little walk, but it was going somewhere different, and that was kind of feeding me at some level. And I think that's what I'm trying to do now, is live more intentionally, more creatively, and saying, well, what about if we did this? So we're going to go to an Open Studios event also in May, end of May. I've just ordered my brochure. If anybody knows it, it's called Spring Fling. It's up in Dumfries and Galloway, which isn't very far from Cumbria. But it's the fact that I've actually ordered the book to get the brochure, and we're making a plan and we're going to do it. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. If there's some disaster happens, or the weather changes, or we just decide we don't feel like it, that's fine. Because I think that's all part of living creatively, living slowly, working with what you've got going on, working with the energies, and just doing it that way. It makes so much sense to me. I mean, I used to scurry around, I used to make things happen, I used to be very busy, and I was talking to my friend, my arty friend who came. We used to do Open Studios together, and boy, that was very intense, because we had people coming all the time to my studio over several weekends. We used to open at weekends, and you'd get hordes of people coming. I mean, literally hundreds over those few weekends, which was immense. And we were like on the go the whole time that people were here, because you talk to people, you're showing your work, you're setting yourself up. It was very intense, and there's no way that I would do that now. You see, doing the YouTube, doing my Substack, this is kind of where I am now as a creative person, I think. So it's about slowing down, working with my energies, and, you know, letting things come to me, letting life unfold things for me. So I didn't push to go and see my friends, but I just thought, ooh, I feel a connection with this person, I'm going to contact them, and we'll see what we can arrange. And it's been that sort of thing. It's been very slowly done, and as I say, it's reconnecting. It's beautiful, because these are people who are very special to me, who I haven't seen for a long time. And so that's been a joy. You know, it's these simple pleasures, isn't it? Simple pleasures in life. Yeah. So the other thing I've been doing, big time, is I've been out on my bicycle. Now, my bicycle I bought last year. If anybody was here who was watching me, I did mention I was buying myself a brand new bicycle. Super duper bike. Terrified me. Absolutely terrified me. The first few times I took it out, I was petrified. There was something about going at some kind of speed along the road rather than walking that my body went, oh my goodness, we can't do this. So I've kind of gone out very gently with it. I've been very intentional again, very slow, very gentle. The weather's been better, so I've been feeling like going out. And I've just gone out a few times, just along the road and back. Nothing big, but it's allowed my body to go, oh, actually this is okay. I don't feel unsafe. I've had to learn the gears. Obviously, all these modern bikes have got loads of gears on them. And my old bike was very basic. I think it had 3 gears on it, you know. So I'm very pleased. That's another little thing I'm doing, and I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for me and my body, and doing it for my pleasure. And I think that's part of what creative living to me is about, is doing what brings you pleasure. Sometimes there's mundane things, aren't there? There's chores to be done, but it's finding a way to do those chores in a way that's joyful for you. So I'm going to leave you here. I think that's enough for this week. I'm just delighted to be back here with you again. And if you've watched all the way through to the end, fantastic. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of creativity, which is some cooking. I will put the recipe down below. It's a lovely recipe for Tuscan bean stew, which I make quite often because I really love it. It's got parsnips in. And one of the joys is using some of our homegrown things. So it's got my homegrown garlic in, which was just very pleasing. To use your own stuff that you've grown is wonderful. So I'm going to leave you with that as a little clip just to unwind at the end of this video. And this comes from me to you with much love. I'm exploring what I'm doing here. I hope it's of interest to you. I hope it brings you a little pleasure and a moment just to sit with a cup of tea and have a chat with me I wish you could be here, but obviously this is the next best thing that I can do. So I'll see you again next week. Who knows what I'll have been doing as the week goes on, and I hope you will have a peaceful, creative week, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.